Where do we even begin with this girl? Melty is probably, you know what, no probably. She is the best character from Rise of the Shield Hero. And with this most recent collaboration, she actually received a bunch of buffs and put her on a lot of people's radar. Or if you already have her, then, I mean, you're gonna be using her just a lot more. On top of her also receiving all these buffs, she got a true weapon as well, which is pretty nice. You know, it's pretty much Melty's dress, just a little bit stronger. But I don't think this one's needed really compared to something like Goku uniform, or true Goku uniform, let me say. It's a good addition, but not really needed for her. Now, if you wanna know what changed with Melty, she's pretty much the exact same unit, just mainly modifiers, arch shin typing, and some buffs got changed, and debuffs as well. So there's no overall rework with her, just a bunch of changes, which you can see right here. This is what changed. But as you see here, she has her skill still, recovers everybody's HP and increases art gauge by 10. Her art also increases everybody's attack now and autofills everybody's art gauge by 3 for 15 seconds. By the way, this arch gen type actually got changed from type B to type E, which is now known as the crossover arch gen group, which is, you know, pretty good. And then we have her true art, which her true art modifier I don't think got changed. I think the only thing that got changed was her debuff and possibly the fire resistance. I could be wrong about the fire resistance part, but I know for a fact the debuff got changed. So now she will increase everybody's fire resistance by 20% and damage to enemies by 60% for 20 seconds. And you can tell that this right here, this is a massive damage increase for Melty and her team. As for her abilities, she has skill CT speed up when near death level 2, and she also has the Noble Princess, which is her unique ability. This gives all allies arts damage 20% up, so it makes everyone hit a little bit harder. As for the equips you're going to be wanting to run on Melty, I think you can go a few things. If you're going more nuking, you know, something like on the left or the middle would be really nice. You know, an eraser bit, this gives everybody art gauge. The type 0 also gives everybody art gauge. And then Rosetta Perio, which will also give everyone magic damage. You know, anything that's able to buff up your damage or increase your overall arts for nuking would be really nice for her. If you want to go something a little bit more crazier with nuking though, you could put any elemental resistance down equip for her 5-star magic to increase, of course, whatever team's damage that you're using her on. Pretty much every single resistance down item in the game is a magic item for the most part, so you know you have a lot of options. Or if you want to go something a little bit more, you know, sustain, not really nuking, you know, more so just giving everybody art gauge and her arch genning for herself, and then maybe using her true art whenever, you could go something more like the Alma's hat. You actually get this from the Alma's event in the side story. You can go do that. You could use something like Goku uniform or any other AoE arch gen item, or if you don't have this, something like Lesser Demon Heart would be really nice. And then 4-star magic can really be anything. It doesn't really matter if you have Rosetta Perio, Period Crimson, it doesn't really matter, just any 4-star magic you can slot in. As for the crest you're going to want to run on Melty, it's completely up to you. Whether that be art gauge up if you're nuking, whether that be equipment CT down, which is also really solid. And those two I would say are probably the two that I would go for if I would really want to, like, you know, optimize my Melty. But she does perfectly fine just with no crest at all. As you can tell from my compendium, I use this girl quite a bit. As for the animations, of course, you've already seen them before, but I'll just show off them real quick. I think I already gave her a rating before too. It's probably like an 8 or something, but as you see, just an attack, little orb that comes out. She has the skill, which is more so just like a healing field that she does, really nice. She has the art, but as you see here, you know, she opens up the glyph, water sprouts out, really nice. Reminds me a lot of the Goblin Slayer art that's in the game. And then we have the true art, which is literally just a Kamehameha tied with her art, which is nice. You know, she got the pose and everything. If we ever get a Goku in the game, you know, we already know how Goku's gonna look if he does the Kamehameha. And this is the team that I usually run with her, just like a mono water team with a Forte, just so the boy Gray can hit as hard as he can. And I will say right out the gate that Melty for me is more so just this nuking type of character. I don't really use her in sustain too much. Of course, she can be used in sustain. I think she's perfectly fine in that. Let's just see how much damage the team will do if we go up against a takedown battle real quick. And I think it's going to be quite a bit, especially with this team. So we should see some pretty crazy damage numbers here. One thing that I will say, if you are using Melty, you need to be a little bit careful whenever you go to like actually go crazy with like all the true arts and everything, because you want Melty's debuff to happen first. So, and it takes a little bit to come out. And then after that, you want to go in with everybody else. So as you see here, we're going to do all the damage, and that is quite a bit of damage right there. And look at that, Melty got her true art again. And I mean, definitely we could probably kill at a little bit more oomph on the team, but as you see there, that's 9 million damage. And also this guy has a ton of HP, but we still might kill. Maybe not. It doesn't really matter. As you saw there, 12 million damage in a break, which is pretty insane. And that wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have Melty's 60% damage resist down, which is a multiplicative debuff, by the way, which if you don't know what that means, that pretty much means that it multiplies your damage instead of adding to your damage, because a lot of buffs in Grand Summoners are additive and not multiplicative. Let's see real quick what the damage numbers were like real quick. Let me see. As you saw there, 5.2 million from the boy Gray Full Buster, and Melty with the 3.6 milli. Looking really nice, you know what I mean? Looking really nice. And that's kind of like what you can expect for most nukes. You can pretty much use this team against most fights in the game. The only thing you may have to do is just alter the team a little bit to, like, you know, make sure that you won't die or something like that. But for the most part, that team can nuke practically everything in the game, and you don't even have to just use her on mono water. She's an amazing nuke support on pretty much every single nuking team in the game. There's no reason not to use her. If you can slot in Melty, you're probably going to use her majority of the time, just because the damage increase that she gives your team is insane. And like I said, I don't really personally like using her as an arch genner, but she's perfectly fine if you want to use her like that. You could run her another arch genner, and you'll probably be a-okay in terms of like getting arts and, you know, DPS and all that. So, you know, she's very beneficial for not only new players starting out, but also veteran players, you know, that do more of that nuking style of gameplay. So she's kind of like the best of both worlds, and there's really not like a negative to Melty. I think like the worst part about her is the fact that I wish that her art gauge was maybe like a 4 art sub, possibly. That would be really nice, and that her true art maybe gave just damage resist overall instead of just fire resistance, or a different buff entirely. Like, for example, maybe giving the fire resistance to the art, because the art's kind of like a little bit more defensive, you know, since it's like art gauge and stuff like that, and then giving the attack buff to the true art plus the damage up as well, which would have been really nice. Either way though, Melty, insane character. If you got her, guarantee you're gonna love her. Highly recommend that you max her out, use her all the time. Either way though, fam, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you all again for coming out. It's been your bro P. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more. If you got Melty or been using Melty, please tell me how you feel about her down below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend you check out either one of the videos popping up on your screen right now. Great content, guarantee you'll love them. And oh yeah, before you leave, don't forget to drink water.